Hello, everybody, and welcome to Odd Reactions, where nerds and their friends react to and talk about nerdy things. I am Vaughn, and here with me today is
TeekiGoon.
TeekiGoon, and we are here to talk about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So first, let's go through some non-spoiler things.
Well, that's gonna be tough.
I know. So what did you think of the movie, Teeki?
I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. There was not a single instance of this movie where you kind of like, you have those instances when you're in the theater and you check your watch, you check your phone and be like, all right, how far into this movie are we?
Yeah.
Never had one of those.
Yeah, it was a fun. This was a very fast-paced, and there was not a wasted second of this film. There was barely any downtime. There was maybe one section of downtime, before everything really hit the fan. But besides that, that was the only bathroom break, if you could say. It was like a 3-minute section.
I think I took my bathroom break that.
I think I took it right there too. I was like, a big thing just happened. I think I have time, and I just ran.
But that also to that counter though, I feel like they could have put more stuff in.
Mm-hmm. It was very rushed.
It was what, 2 hours was the runtime?
Yeah. It could have been another hour probably.
I don't think it could have been that long. But what's the runtime on it?
It was 2 hours 6 minutes.
According to Google, it's an hour 55.
Hour 55.
Right. So I feel like we could have had another 15, 20 minutes of stuff.
Yeah.
And it still would have felt that same.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think there's one section, we'll talk about the spoiler section, where it was pretty condensed and there are certain people I would like to have hung out with a little bit longer.
Yes.
But we can talk about that in a second. But I think overall this was I think for me, the best part about this movie is I think this really sets up this phase and the storyline going forward. I think Shang-Chi was an awesome intro to a new character. Mm-hmm. I think it was the classic hero journey, 3 acts. But it didn't progress much of the story. It just progressed him as a new Avenger. Going forward, I think Spider-Man No Way Home had some future story elements, but it was really about Peter becoming fully leveling up into who he is. I think that's what that movie was. It wasn't really a story, a universe story driven film. There were aspects of it.
Yeah, I would definitely say No Way Home was, even though this was our second Spider-Man movie post Iron Man, correct?
Yes, because there was not Homecoming, Far From Home, and then this one. Yeah.
So I felt like this one really had Peter grow into the Spider-Man role. Yeah. As opposed to in the first one, and even in the second one, he was more of a Tony Stark sidekick.
Yeah. 100%.
Now he's Spider-Man.
It was like his hero journey took 3 films, where Shang-Chi took 1, and now he is this full version of Spider-Man and who he is. And saying that, this is the first film in this phase where the story is thrown at us. This is the story of this phase now. Doctor Strange is the new Iron Man, officially now. The strongest Avenger argument is over. That is Wanda. That is what this film does, and I think that is the beauty of this film, that we finally we have the shows, and I feel like we've been hovering close to full launch post Endgame into what this is going to look like, and the shows have been taking these long kind of roads to get us to here. Now the story just exploded in front of our faces, and that's the best part of this film to me.
But yeah, and it's funny because the story exploded, but at the same time brings it together. Yeah. Now we have a definite direction that we're going, whereas you've had the TV shows, you've had the other movies. Yeah. So we've kind of been going in 7 or 8 different directions. While the Multiverse of Madness, multiverse, it still brings all those universes together, and now we all have a similar trajectory forward. Yeah. I'd say the only one that maybe does not line up perfectly with everything else is Moon Knight, but that just finished this week.
I think that it would have been it had been too on the nose for them to end the show and then have something about it in the movie. Right. That'd been a little too much. But I think we don't hear, we hear obviously multiverse, but I would have loved a little more Loki in the film, but or like that kind of section of the story, but that'll probably more of that'll come in with Thor. I'm sure there'll be a lot more multiverse than we're thinking that's going to happen in Thor. That will happen in Thor. But anyway,
well, if they go along with, because was it Gore, the God Killer?
Yeah,
is that his name? Gore. It's a 12 issue. He's in a 12 issue run. It's on Marvel Unlimited. If you have Marvel Unlimited, it's called Thor Mightiest Hero, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
And if they go along with what that comic is, it takes it's multiversal.
Okay.
So
yeah,
really exciting to see.
What's cool also about this film is it feels like what if was the Doctor Strange TV show now is kind of what.
Yes.
And I had a feeling that that's what happened when they announced Multiverse of Madness and the first trailer hit, and you're like, okay, what if wasn't just this one-off thing?
Right.
This was actually setting up this Doctor Strange film, which at first none of us expected. We just thought it was gonna be fun. Now it is a story-based thing, and I wouldn't even doubt if more of those characters come out in the future, or if the next season of What If influences the story going forward even more. Yeah, all in all, I think this was a awesome movie.
I would agree.
Their main purpose was to finally put the story and what that looks like going forward in front of us. Shall we move on to spoilers?
Sure.
Okay.
We can do that.
So first thing we see is it's Doctor Strange. It's not Doctor Strange Prime. What is it? What is?
No. She says her universe number, and I can't remember off the top of my head.
Anyway, Doctor Strange.
No, that's different universe. We don't know. I don't think we know what this universe.
We don't know which
Strange
that
was.
Strange was. Okay, so different Strange with a ponytail and America Chavez running from unknown creature.
It reminded me of the creatures from what's that Tom Cruise movie where he dies repeatedly?
The with Emily Blunt. Yeah, I've actually never seen it.
Oh well, the monsters in that movie look just like that monster.
It made me think. Funny. It gave me like giant mummy wrapping monster vibe, which I'm like, Moonlight? Is Moonlight happening at some point? This is what
I would agree with that.
So that was cool. I like America Chavez. I think she was a really awesome breath of fresh air in this universe.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, this kid who is confused, but also it's just a lot of fun. She was a lot of fun. And in this kind of very adult setting, the Sam Raimi horror setting, she was just really awesome. She was a lighthearted kind of bit that I didn't anticipate liking as much.
Oh yeah, I mean by horror, I would definitely say like
Marvel horror.
Horror light.
Yeah.
Horror like technically like Beetlejuice and Frighteners are horror movies. They aren't scary.
True. I mean, this is horror for, everybody. For kids, because parents are taking their kids to this movie, right? And like, there's a couple scenes like when Wanda crawls out of the gong that I'm like legitimately freaky, like that might actually make kids afraid.
But with her, now we have another member of the Young Avengers showing up.
Yes, Young Avengers is happening. It is 100% happening, and I'm so excited. Do you think it'll be a show first, or do you think it'll be a film?
I honestly do not know. Because, I mean, in this weird way, it's like they've taken a bunch of these like no-name, arguably very young actors and actresses, and it's a curiosity of, can they carry a movie? And part of me wanted to be a television show.
Yeah.
Because I personally think that was the biggest downfalls of Eternals, is that should have been a TV show.
Or series of films.
But I think Eternals would have been a great TV show if you did one episode per character and kind of flesh them out, as opposed to being like, here's 2.5 hours of characters that no one knows about.
Here's like half of an entire phase in a film.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think I would love it as a television show, because I think you could kind of harken it on the like Young Justice animated series that DC did. Yeah,
even Titans works as a TV show. It's very fun. So I agree.
You could do like a villain of the week per se.
Yeah. That would be cool, like a classic 90s cartoon TV show. Yeah, that would be fun. But live action. Yeah, I because also some of the characters already work as in that context, right? We see new Hawkeye. She works perfectly in a TV show context, and I think America Chavez has that same feel. I mean, we're also going to meet some others, like Miss Marvel is going to be in a film.
Yeah, Miss Marvel.
She's having her own film, so we'll see. That'll be.
Loki is in Young Avengers, so I'm assuming they'll come back maybe.
Yeah.
Patriot,
Loki season 2.
We met Patriot in Captain America, Falcon, Winter Soldier.
True.
So Patriot's also. So I'm saying we have, and then what? Wiccan is also, and Speed and Wiccan are both Young Avengers. So we've met
most of
these
them
characters, and then are we missing? Is Ant-Man's daughter in Young Avengers? I cannot remember off the top of my head.
In the new Iron Man, is she in Young Avengers or
I don't know. She's fairly new.
Yeah.
I know Iron Lad is. So
Okay.
they'll probably just
gender
swap that.
Yeah, use them as a thing. That'll be fun. That's exciting. But what's weird is it feels like there's a lot has been happening, but also feels like they've been slow burning us for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Which is so interesting because you have all the TV shows and you've had 3 major phase movies, and you've had Black Widow, obviously, which was a one-off thing
that exists. I
actually think it's the most underrated of the Marvel films.
Not a fan.
A lot of people aren't. Anyway, fun speculation for what's next. So we see a lot of cool things. Let's just talk about the cameos real quick. Reed Richards. As soon as I heard his voice,
I squealed.
I heard his voice, but you hear his voice for a second before you see his face. And I'm like, who the frick? Because you anticipated going into the Illuminati, you anticipated Professor X, you anticipated Captain Carter, Maria Rambeau, you anticipated. There was speculation.
I anticipated one that did not show up.
Yeah, Iron Man, Tom Cruise Iron Man. Everybody was like, "That's Tom Cruise's Iron Man." I was like, I don't know, man.
I didn't even need Tom Cruise Iron Man. I just wanted another Iron Man.
Yeah.
Because you had the Ultron drone. So I'm like, okay, we're getting...
That made sense. But I don't think... Because you saw those mock-ups of Reed Richards, right? You saw all the... And he looked exactly like those leaked mock-ups, too. And I did not anticipate John Krasinski to show up on my screen. When I heard his voice, like, who the frick is this? And it showed his face, and I was like, I can't believe what's happening.
Dude, I squealed. I squealed.
And then Wanda asks him about his family, and he's like, yeah, they're still alive. And it's like, well, we're getting a Fantastic Four film.
Yep.
Officially, sure, he got turned into balloons and exploded, but like, it's happening. I think all of those, that 5 minutes of Illuminati members.
We also got Black Bolt.
Yep. I don't know if he's gonna get a movie, but it was cool to see him. It was cool to see him, and that was my favorite of the Wanda murders. Because all of them are great. But I think that one was just what mouth, and then he tries to whisper and his head explodes.
Yeah.
Dude, that was awesome.
Incredible.
I also think the Professor X killing was
Professor X
pretty
was good
badass.
Too.
Yeah. But so we get Reed Richards, Fantastic Four's happening. We get Captain Carter, which if we don't get either a Captain Carter television show or a Captain Carter film, I'm gonna be so mad.
That's all I need.
I want a new Shield. Make me get a new Shield, please. My cat. When she, you already know when she said I could do this all day, that I needed a moment in the theater alone.
Was that your 3-minute break?
Maybe less than that. Yeah, that was, and then she had a jetpack, and she was like,
I just want one season. That's all I need. Just one season. I just want to see.
I want to see her kicking ass as Captain Carter. She looks so good too, man. You could tell.
It was animated.
You could tell she was putting in work, right? Like you could tell all these people were in the gym, just like Jane Foster. It was like Natalie Portman. You could tell she's in the gym, but these people were all got there. I was like, Haley Atwell, I'm already in love with you, but I'm even more in love with you now. What is happening? And then we get Maria Rambeau as Captain Marvel. Dope. She looked great in her suit. And then Professor X with the
Yep.
yellow chair, and then the waves as he's doing his brain stuff.
Yes.
The waves. When the music first popped me, then the chair popped me, but then when I saw them do the mind ripples that you see in the TV show, I was my 12-year-old heart.
It was so good.
That was
so
awesome. This is the part, the section I know both of us think could have been longer.
1000%.
Up to this point, it felt chaotic, but it felt like a purposeful chaos. Like, this is all happening. This is crazy. This is nuts. This moment went by too fast. This was like it felt like a 15-minute period where, like, we meet Illuminati and all these people, they're dead. And you're like, but Captain Carter. Like, but
while I think that it had two reasons. One, it was that immense shock value.
yes.
That we only got to see them for this long, and now we're upset. And now we have turned on Wanda.
Yes.
You know, like,
she's the bad guy now.
She is the bad guy. So that point, because it was so quick that we're upset that we did not get to spend more time with these characters that we love.
Yes.
Secondly, from a business standpoint, I feel like they had all these people on set, and we got one day.
Yeah. You're all getting $1 million for one day. We can't afford any more.
So we need to get this going.
Don't worry, you got your future projects.
Yeah.
But right now, you just get one. Yeah.
So, but I do think, as much as I did want more, and yes, I think there could have been more to create that just ultimate shock value and to have audiences turn on Wanda.
Yeah.
It needed to be that quick.
I agree. It could go either way. And the more I think about it, like, the more we linger on the Illuminati, it would have felt like we were focusing on a single universe more than we needed to. The purpose of this movie was to go from verse to verse to verse to verse, not stick in one for too long. It is all about all of them. And if we just stuck with the Illuminati because we love these characters so much, it would have felt maybe a little forced. But also, you're right. This is like, we saw Wanda when she was fighting all of the spellcasters, right? She was just murking them. But this is where we saw Wanda controlling a body from universes away, just basically wipe out the Avengers in a second. And you're like,
oh my.
Yes, yeah. This was her showcase to just to really show us how powerful she is, and it was great. And in different ways too, which is another reason why the Professor X one was so cool, because she was just physically destroying everybody, but then she mentally destroyed him, which everybody knows how strong S tier mutant Professor X is, and she just murked him, you know. Before this, though, there was the traveling through the multiverse kind of sequence. The only thing I'm disappointed with is which cartoon multiverse we were in. I so badly wanted that to be the the X-Men cartoon multiverse, and I was so disappointed, but that's basically it.
Happens.
Yeah.
Which we're getting that show.
I know. But I hope they keep it as close to 90s
as far as I know, it's animated. X-Men 97. I'm hoping they bring back the original voice actors.
Visual theme would be great, please.
Because as much as, you know, I love What If, using the live action actors to voice their characters did not go well.
It was a little jarring.
Not even like Sebastian Stan was just bad at it.
Yeah. It's funny. I was talking to my voiceover teacher, and she was like telling me how she needed a quick project done. So she asked one of her like film actor friends. Well, he like said, "I'm gonna do it for you," whatever, because they were close. And he's like, "I'll be able to do it. It'll be fine." And she was like, "He was absolutely awful." And so it tells you how it does not translate. Your ability to act on screen does not necessarily translate to voice acting. It's a completely different medium. So after Illuminati, we get a awesome chase scene. That's where like another horror component came in, where they're chasing through the underground tunnels, and a couple jump scares, really, really fun. But then we get the showdown with Strange in what another verse of some kind.
Yeah.
This was one of the coolest fight scenes I have ever seen.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people who hate the music thing. I think it is awesome.
It was so cool.
It was so cool. It was ingenious. It was like no other fight scene I've ever seen before. When he started taking the notes off the page and throwing, I'm like, okay, that's cool. But then when Other Strange catches them with the, I don't know what it's called, but the music sheet, and then they just start throwing it back and forth, and like, oh, I thought it was so cool.
And going back and forth is creating music in itself.
Yes.
I was like, oh, this is so cool.
Yeah, I thought that was really, really genius. Who do we think we've met that Other Strange? When I was watching it, I was like, is this our Strange in the future? Like, is this our Strange who failed in about what he's about to do? Is that how meta they got here? That's what I thought the entire time.
I don't know. I didn't really think about that.
So he had the third eye, and then Strange ends. We end the movie. He has the third eye. And so I was like, the whole time I was watching, I was like, is this our Strange? This kind of seems like our Strange in a weird way.
Right.
But the freakiest moment of the film to me was when he asks him if he just needs to give him his Christine or whatever, and he's like, I don't think she'll go with you. And the face he makes when I was like,
yeah,
oh, that's horrifying. Yeah, that was awesome.
1000%. God, that was such a cool fight scene.
Yeah, one of the most, like, in all of the MCU, probably the most creative fight scene we've seen so far. I'd say Shang-Chi in the first one with his mom and dad fighting in the woods, and she's like, that dance they were doing, that's super creative. Maybe not the best fight scenes, because obviously there've been some incredible fight scenes, but creativity wise, those two are up there.
Those two, and then I would say the third one I would throw in there is the Civil War Winter Soldier Cap Iron Man fight scene.
The 2v1 at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I saw a cool theory today, or the other day, that Cap broke his helmet on purpose first, because he knew that if he broke his reactor, he'd start suffocating. I was like,
that makes sense.
I was like, oh my god, he was still his friend. Like, broke my heart a little bit. Cool. After that, we get the pinnacle of the film, where what happened? Wait, I have my D&D game from last night and what happened at the end of that mixed in now in my brain in the pantheon of what happens in the movie. What happens after that? Tell me.
We end up going to the temple.
Yes. One of the most badass moments for Wanda, when she gets there, she's like, this isn't a tomb, this is a throne. And she like turns around. I was like, oh, she is awesome. Scarlet Witch. Yeah, but we get that. He does his own dream walking through a dead version of himself.
We got zombie Doctor
We got
Strange.
zombies Doctor Strange, not just zombie Doctor Strange, zombie Doctor Strange, who absorbed the power of like 15 spirits and used them as a cape.
Yep.
Like necromancer Doctor Strange. That led to a really cool moment that made me really afraid in the moment. And that was when he goes to America Chavez and he's like, I just came here to tell you that, like, you have the power, or you can trust yourself, or whatever he said to her. And I was like, this is about to be America Chavez beats the strongest creature in the universe.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen that way. It was beautiful. She gets 2 punches in, and then Wanda looks at her and is like, you got no shot. And then in a second, she says, I can't beat you. And then I thought this was the perfect way to deal with the Wanda problem. Because now
100%.
Marvel has a Superman problem that they created for themselves. That is Wanda Maximoff as full-scale Scarlet Witch. She can do anything. And that is very clear in this movie. They now have a Superman problem. The way you solve a Superman problem is give Superman morality. And so what happened, she saw the monster she could become.
Saw her kids be afraid of her.
Yes. And so she sacrifices herself, and the Darkhold's gone forever in every universe. But we don't see her die. Teeki, we don't see her die. And
you know what happens when you don't see a dead
it
body?
never fails that when someone dies but you don't see them, they come back. Just like, what was that, the movie with or the TV show with the start stop, and if you do it the wrong time you get killed.
Squid Game.
Squid Game, just like Squid Game. You don't see someone die, they're probably not dead. And so Wanda's got to be back, right? Scarlet Witch has got to be back.
1000%.
Yeah.
Honestly, it'd be different. I mean, Elizabeth Olsen, but Scarlet Witch is a fan favorite character.
Yes.
Never thought in my entire life to ever say that.
I know. As a kid, she was such a like tertiary character, not even secondary. She was like someone who came in every once in a while and was like super OP and helped out or hurt, just depending on the mood she was in.
We also grew up in a weird Marvel life, whereas like DC had a stranglehold when we were little.
Oh yeah.
But like when it came to Marvel, like think about it. When we were little, Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, even Hulk to an extent, no one cared.
Spider-Man was really the only one you cared about, really.
X-Men.
Yeah, that was
Spider-Man and
the
X-Men.
only ones you cared about. And interesting because Spider-Man was always alone, and every once in a while, it's this other character you might have never heard about before came in and helped for like
Iron Man, Captain America,
an episode or two, and then you knew more about the villains of Marvel in Spider-Man's things than you did all of the heroes, which is so interesting. The X-Men were their own thing, and they had this big group, and that was cool. But Spider-Man was by themselves, and so it is very interesting to see him interacting with all these people because for our entire lives up until this point, he was a solo act. Just like a DC's, they're usually solo acts, and the Justice League works every once in a while when a Earth level threat happens or universe level threat happens.
But like even us growing up, when you had DC, you had the Batman animated series, you had the New Adventures of Batman, you had Superman animated series, you had the Justice League, Justice League Unlimited.
Yep.
Like you had so many different animated shows. I mean, we had Static Shock.
Yeah.
Static Shock was a fan favorite DC character growing up. And we just didn't have that with Marvel.
Yeah.
So now all of us that grew up doing that are now experiencing Marvel through this live action.
Oof.
It's really exciting. And seeing people like grab onto Scarlet Witch and be like, holy crap, like this is cool.
Yeah. I think also what this
Moon Knight.
I know, Moon Knight. Well, the Guardians of the Galaxy, 99% of even like Marvel comic book people, they didn't they didn't know who the Guardians of the Galaxy were, or they knew who they were, but they never read a single book from the Guardians of the Galaxy. They never read one of them. And now every single person who watches movies knows who the Guardians of the Galaxy is.
Yeah.
It's crazy for me. Shang-Chi.
Right.
Nobody knew who he was. And so what is the beauty of the whole cinematic universe is now we are opening up to everything. And that's where Marvel has succeeded, and unfortunately DC has failed. They have started,
which is wild to me, because DC could literally just look at the blueprint and go, okay, that's what we have to do.
Suicide Squad makes me believe.
The Warner Brothers goes, let's do the opposite.
Yep. Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, or Keeper, whatever. Peacemaker. Yeah. They give me hope.
Peacekeeper. Oh God.
I know. Now my brain.
You broke my brain. You broke my brain.
Those two give me hope.
Peacemaker.
So I thought. Those two give me hope because they're so good. Like, they're so good, and they're getting
so good.
They get to that. You can be serious every once in a while, which DC is the more serious comic book side of things. But in a film sense, if you want everybody to like you, like everybody likes Marvel, there's got to be lighthearted stuff too, and there's got to be that film comedy that is mixed in with the intense intergalactic chaos, right? And Marvel has done that from day one, and DC just never did. They stuck to the dark and the niche, and
Yeah, this could be a different podcast. DC reacts.
Very good.
Why they suck.
Very good. Yeah. So we get the cool climax. Wanda is the sacrifice, and then we get
She's
some
squished.
And then we get at the end the three eyes of the third eye coming out of Doctor Strange, and then we get Clea. Charlize Theron's character, who you could go into the dark web of Marvel spoilers and what everyone's speculation. I don't think a single person thought that this character was going to. I don't know much about her.
Me either.
Other that she is a part of the Doctor Strange, his side of things. And she has some kind of like. She like served Dormammu at some point, but then helped Strange defeat him at some point. So her splitting open reality, and you see Dormammu in the back. I'm sure there'll be something to do with them fighting Dormammu at some point. I don't care. It's Charlize Theron in a purple bodysuit. in the Marvel universe.
Say less.
I'm happy. So let's talk about really quickly what we think is next. I don't really know. Young Avengers, obviously,
Young
that's
Avengers,
going to happen. But Doctor Strange, I guess more Dormammu.
What we have on the docket this year is we have Thor.
Yep.
Thunder and Love.
Yes.
We have, what's the November release? Ant-Man? Quantum?
Oh, I can't. I love Ant-Man.
Or is that next year?
Let's see. Marvel release schedule. Doing it
Or
live.
Is it or is it the Marvels?
Or release schedule.
So Fantastic Four has not. It's still in like early stages.
Yeah,
I know that.
yeah. That's not gonna.
Oh, Wakanda Forever. That comes out in November.
Okay. Doctor Strange. Next is Miss Marvel, June 8th.
Okay.
Then Thor, July 8th. Wakanda Forever, November 11th. She-Hulk.
One more show in there.
She-Hulk's coming.
There it is.
And then the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. I forgot.
I'm so excited for that.
I forgot. That's gonna be so goofy. And then next year we have Quantum Leap or Quantum Mania. Quantum Leap. We have Quantum Mania. Guardians. The Marvels.
Yes.
X-Men. So the next couple years is gonna be nuts.
Yeah.
We got Agatha at some point. I forgot about that. Armor Wars.
Yeah.
Forgot Armor Wars. Echo.
Oh, yeah.
Ironheart.
What about the
Secret Invasion? That's not even that's not even announced when that's going to be, but that's going to be another huge story-driven thing. The next Loki's Blade, Fantastic Four, Captain America.
So like where we're going,
Deadpool 3.
I think we're gonna keep exploring multiverse.
Oh yeah.
1000%. Well, not 1000%. If they go along the storyline of the comics for Thor and God of Thunder, what they're basing it off, because I mean, there's literally some stills from the comic book they have pulled straight out and put in the trailer.
Yeah.
Like if you like open the comic book, you look at the screen, you look at the comic book, and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
So if they do that, that story will explore multiverses. I'm assuming Quantum Realm or whatever it's called, Quantum Verse.
Yeah.
We'll explore multiverse. Wakanda Forever, probably not.
Yeah. That's going to be, I have no idea, because that's going to be who's the next Black Panther?
I'm nervous about it.
Yeah,
Black Panther is one of my favorite movies. I am nervous about
I have
Wakanda
no
Forever.
idea what they're going to do. I think it's going to be great. I trust them to do a good job. It's just you can't tell what's going to happen there.
Right. I think Thor will be good. It'll be a Ragnarok style.
Yeah. Thor's going to be awesome. Oh, I'm so excited.
But I'm nervous about Miss Marvel. I am nervous about Miss Marvel because I know they did some test footage for audiences and people were not a fan of the lead.
It depends on why they're not. It could be many reasons.
Reshoots.
Oh, they have.
Mm-hmm.
So I know people were mad at them changing her powers too initially. Well, I think it could work well. I mean, she's going to be in the Captain Marvel kind of vein of things, this like cosmic energy that she can manipulate, which could work. Whatever, I don't know. I don't have many expectations. What I think another thing that this movie does, I think we're moving away. This is just I could be wrong about this. Okay. I think we're moving away from individual films. There's going to be like a name on the headline, obviously, but I think it's going to be more the films are going to be a couple hours of just story, and instead of these being these separate strings that eventually meet up to an Avengers film or whatever, they're all going to get closer and closer and meld together. I think the shows are where we're going to get specific stories of specific characters. I think the films are eventually just going to be a continuation of one big story instead of a bunch of stories and then they come together for one. Bunch of stories and they come together for one.
I like that.
I think that's what this film does. And I think that's cool. So I think Spider-Man's going to get a TV show instead of another film.
I mean, we started... I mean, really, the first one that kind of started that was Winter Soldier. Because you brought in Winter Soldier.
Well, Civil War is where that really shattered that whole thing.
Yeah. Because Black Panther made his debut in Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
So you definitely had that, and then he gets a solo movie.
Yeah.
Which I think you're right. I think now with Disney Plus happening, you're going to get that, and we're not going to have a solo movie. We'll have a solo series.
Yeah, I think the 3 Avengers films where they all come together, that's dead. I think they're all going to be coming into each other's films a lot more. And I think films are just going to be the continuation, one big giant story. And I think that's exciting. It's different.
The sad part is it's not. DC did it first, but they just sucked at it.
They suck so bad at it.
Batman v Superman is the prime example of that, and it was terrible.
Yeah. And I know we talked about this before, but this feels like everything that came before was like the intro to Marvel, and now Marvel, we are getting into actually the second act of Marvel, which is crazy to think. We just got done with the intro act of Marvel, and now we are opened up to the actual thing.
Right.
Which is crazy.
Incredible.
All right. Moving on, because we're already going a little too far, or too long, which is fine. There's a lot of mixed emotions about this film.
Yeah,
which we both like it a lot. I think it's up there. A lot of people don't. I saw someone say, "Is this the Suicide Squad of Marvel?" And I think they meant the bad one. And I was like, "Really? What are you talking about?"
Rotten Tomatoes is down to 76%.
There's 2 things I think contribute to that. I think the style of the film. I don't think people like Sam's style. Not everybody. It is not the same style. It's not Thor Ragnarok. Once Thor Ragnarok happened, everybody wanted every movie to feel like Thor Ragnarok, I feel like. Or Guardians of the Galaxy.
Part of it too is when people heard Sam Raimi, they were hoping to get Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
And we got Evil Dead 2.
Oh.
Which
That's really
I thoroughly
good.
enjoy Evil Dead 2.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people do not enjoy Evil Dead 2.
Yeah.
So I think that's where the disconnect is happening, is that they, in their minds, were expecting one thing and they got something that was a left turn.
Yeah. Spider-Man 1 and 2 are actually a departure from his what his like general style is. So I think you're right. When they wanted Spider-Man 1 and 2 and they didn't get it. Which is fine. I understand you don't like the style of it. You're going to watch Thor Love and Thunder and you're going to get back to that neon comic book kind of style that everyone loves. But I think it worked great for this film. I want Sam to make a Darth Vader film. I think that would be awesome. Yeah. Anyway, it's the second thing I think No Way Home ruined comic book movies for a lot of younger fans because it just threw all the cameos we were expecting in our face.
True.
It gave us all 3 of the Spider-Man we wanted all in our face, and it was this movie made specifically for cinemas. It was a great movie once, and it was a good movie or a lazy written movie every time you watch it at home. And now what we do, social media content creators have gone so far into the speculation side, which is great. I love speculating. Right. It's very fun. But this movie in particular, we started to go second frame by frame by frame, and we would inspect the frame and see this person's in this frame and all this kind of stuff. And then we wanted Wolverine, and we wanted this, and we wanted that, and we wanted all the X-Men in this film, and we wanted blah 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 blah. And when we didn't get it, I saw people that they wanted more cameos and they wanted more. I'm like, this movie overpromised with what it teased us. We got Reed Richards. We got a lot of cool 90s callbacks with the music bits and things like that. I think it overpromised what the film and the studio actually teased us. But people are like, it underdelivered because we ourselves had this over-the-top idea of what this movie might be. Your thoughts?
I do think I would agree with that 100%. But one thing I think is another thing is I also think Multiverse of Madness is a bad title. Because in the grand scheme of things, while we explored multiverses and things like that, I wouldn't say it like nothing necessarily went into turmoil or we had our fights with Wanda and we went to Illuminati stuff like that. But like when we explored other multiverses, the most we explored other multiverses from our own and Prime was what, the beginning, and then the fight scene where they crash through what, 6 multiverses, but it's like
we only stayed in 3.
boom, 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 boom. Right. So when you talk about Multiverse of Madness, I was hoping basically what Spider-Man No Way Home did in Doctor Strange, breaking open the multiverse. That's what I was kind of hoping was going to happen, that this Multiverse of Madness was going to break everything open.
That's fair.
And now people can come and go as they please.
Or like the whole at the end of Loki, when all of the timelines are just breaking off like crazy.
Right.
That was turmoil, and this was just more Strange and Wanda
having
a beef. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's a bad title. I think I don't know what the title could have been.
Sure.
But I think if you could have taken Multiverse of Madness and then made that the title of What If Season 2, and then really like, or even Loki Season 2, Loki Multiverse of Madness now, like I think that would have been.
Ooh, Loki Season 2 Multiverse of, right. I think you're right.
So I think that's the problem. People are going in expecting all those cameos because they see Multiverse of Madness.
They think everything's opening up. Yep. You're right.
We just watched Loki. We just watched this. So I think people just had this grandiose expectation and they didn't get it. Where it wasn't a bad movie, but people are now knee-jerk reaction and emotional reaction, understandably, because we have these connections to these characters.
True.
And these characters from our youth and our past. So I think that's where a major issue is about it. I just kind of been looking online. I think the average rating people are giving this movie is about a 6 out of 10.
Gosh, that's a bummer to me too. I think it's better than a 6. I think it's probably about an 8.
I would have said about an 8.
8.5 at the top. What is starting to make movies for me is how the watch at home feels like. If it feels similar to the theater experience, which is never going to feel like the theater experience, because it's impossible for any movie to feel like the theater experience. But if you get the same kind of feeling from it, then I think it holds up better than a movie that you have a super emotional reaction to at a theater once, and then you don't get that again at home.
You know what movie does that? For me, at least, Endgame.
Oh, Endgame, yeah. Endgame, the more you watch it, the worse it gets, but it's not bad. It's not a bad movie, but it's not Infinity War. Every time I watch Infinity War, my mind is blown. Like, I have the same stress and strain. Endgame was made for that cinema experience when Cap lifts the hammer, and then when Cap says Avengers Assemble for the first time.
On your left.
For the emotional reaction we all got together in the theater. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's just a different purpose for a film. I think a great film holds up throughout time. That's why Winter Soldier is still the best MCU film.
Fact.
Because it's a 50s spy film. And like a really, really, really good one. That is great every time you watch it. Where you drop certain movies like No Way Home and Endgame, it drops off on your emotional scale because it was made for the cinema.
Right.
And who knows, seeing Reed Richards, seeing Professor X, seeing all these people for the first time, it might drop off because those moments were cinema moments too.
Correct.
Awesome. We'll run a little long, so let's get to our list. On a scale from Thor 2 being the worst to Winter Soldier being the best, where do you put this film, TeekiGoon? And it's a fluid living list. It goes up and down.
Yeah,
you know, whatever.
I have my Marvel movie ranking list on my phone. I've had it on my phone for probably the last 6-7 years. And Thor: Dark World is number 28 on my list.
Yep.
And Winter Soldier is number 1 on my list. So you're really hitting the nail on the head there. I put Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness at number 9.
Okay.
I put it at number 9. I put it 1 spot behind Spider-Man: No Way Home, even though I really could flip those two. Though I think Spider-Man: No Way Home and Doctor Strange really are in that same vein, and I put it 1 spot ahead of Captain America: The First Avenger.
Okay.
So Captain America: First Avenger is number 10. So Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is number 9.
Ours are pretty similar. I would put Multiverse above No Way Home. And then I would probably put Civil War and the original Avengers above No Way Home. I think those movies, again, the first Avengers, every time I watch it, I love it. pretty much the same as I did this whole time. And then Civil War, I actually have Civil War in my top 5, which is interesting. So I think Civil War jumps up above both of them.
See,
But
that's it. My Civil War for me is 14.
yeah, it's interesting. That could be another podcast for another day. We can talk about our list.
It could be.
So for both of us, it's a top
10.
It's a top 10 film
me.
for both of us. So it's the top 10 film, MCU film. Who knows?
Now will it stay?
Who knows? In a couple months, when we've watched it multiple times, I'm probably gonna see it in the theater a couple more times, and then once it hits Disney Plus, we'll watch it and then see.
Oh, and on top of that, eventually you're gonna have 2 more movies added to this list by the end of the year. So it's
interesting because Ragnarok is in top 5 for me. I'm interested to see what Thor: Love and Thunder does. It'll be the first 4th film, right? I think it's our
what?
Thor. I think Thor will be our first 4th character film.
I think so.
Because Iron Man is 3, Cap's 3.
Iron Man's 3, Cap is 3. We have a 4th Cap coming. Spider-Man's 3.
Yeah, our first 4th character film, which is crazy.
Ant-Man is gonna be 3.
Yep.
Yeah.
Where's our first? Who would have thought that was going to happen? Our first 4th character film.
I think part of it is that the first 2 were so bad.
See, I like Thor. I enjoy it. Obviously, it's a bottom 3rd film. A lot of people have it in their bottom 5, which I'm like, it's a little harsh maybe, but we'll see.
My bottom 6.
Bottom 6, fair.
Yeah.
It's not great. It's just it got to a certain point with MCU films that they all started to hit. Even like Ant-Man and Wasp is I think the most underrated Marvel film, one of the most underrated Marvel films of all time. I think that is incredible. Anyway, we could have this another conversation. Anyway, we're gone too long. Good times. Anyway, so where can we find you, Teeki? I think it's at TeekiGoon everywhere, right?
At TeekiGoon everywhere. YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch. Is there other social medias that exist? Let me look at my phone. Yeah, that's it.
Grindr. Awesome.
OnlyFans.
And we'll post all the links in the description of the video. Awesome. Thanks for talking, Teek.
Always. Whenever you want me back, I'll come back.
Obviously, I'd love you every time.
I love you more.
Okay. Love you 3000.
Love you 3001.
Not fair. Okay, bye.
Adios.